Our guest today on the World Cafe, Ben Folds, has been doing some collaborating. Back in 2014 or even before, he was commissioned to write a concerto for piano and orchestra by the Nashville Ballet, the Nashville Symphony, and the Minnesota Orchestra. That was premiered. That was toured. He went back and recorded it in his own giant studio in Nashville and ended up with a side of an album and set out to figure out what to put on the other side and started collaborating with the wonderful yMusic ensemble. And now we have So There. And we're really lucky today that yMusic and Ben are all in the studio. And welcome. Great to have you.
Good to be here.
Ben, maybe take us back to the beginning of being commissioned for the symphony and what your thoughts were. Did you solicit this, or how did it come about?
It came about, it was a dinner, and the director of the Nashville Ballet said, you really should make an instrumental piece, like, maybe a piano concerto, and we can collaborate on this, and you can do it with movement in mind, and we'll do a ballet. And I didn't really think about it. It's like, yeah, sure. I've always thought I wanted to do some instrumental stuff, so I just said yes. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work, and it was a lot of learning for me.
And when you were done, there was the orchestration of it, and did you work with others on that?
The orchestration came along with it, sort of. I would cook up about 15 seconds of pretty much their orchestration, and then the orchestrator came in and copied it down for me. So I had an orchestrator who was basically just writing down what I said. But since I don't know how to use Sibelius and I don't know the range of all the instruments, or I'm learning, that he was really useful. But it wasn't a case of my writing a tune on the piano and giving it over to someone to invent. To me, the piano was often the last consideration, and I was really more interested. When I play shows with orchestras, I put myself through my own orchestration classes by inventing orchestration on the stage, which I think is a lot more useful than listening to the sounds come back, through the computer.
Yeah, I heard that when you compose different parts, you often don't. You do it in your head.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not so hard to do if you just imagine when you're sitting with an orchestra on the stage, and it's very obviously humans and instrumentalists, and they're sitting there before you in sections. It's not really that difficult to say, "Oh, I want to hear this line. Who might do it?" And you look over and like, "Oh, the double basses can do that," and I won't be able to hear that, so I'll put some clarinets on top of it, so to give it a point, or like, oh, I can't hear the flute, so I'm going to put the trumpet with it. Or I don't know, there's just things you think of when you see them in person, and you can hear it actually happen. It's not theoretical. It's pretty real. So that's how I orchestrated the concerto. Was I was playing a lot of symphony orchestra shows, and I would just try riffs out. Oh, what if this happened, or what if this happened?
Wow. And then you got to record it in your own studio, which is, if people don't know, Ben owns the old RCA Studio A in Nashville, which is now the Grand Victor studio, which is it's one of the largest ones there, right?
Yeah, I think it's one of the best studios in the world. It's a beautiful musical space, and it was 83-piece orchestra and 2 grand pianos fit in the room, plus a film crew, and it didn't complain. It sounded good, and it was easy to fit.
Well, today Ben and yMusic are in New York at Avatar, and well, why don't you do one of these chamber rock songs, you call them, that go along with the concerto?
Okay, yeah, this is called "Capable of Anything." It's one of the first things we started working on when we got together about a year ago. So this is the song. 1. What is this? It doesn't make much sense. They sing it like a pop song. You're capable of anything, and I'm sure they meant you could be president, or you could just forgive me. But I capable of anything. To think that you could fly so low or sink so high, that you could ever love again or even try, that you could steal or cheat or kill or lie. But you
Capable of anything. That is the first of the chamber rock songs that Ben Folds So There begins with. And we're carrying yes, that was a live performance, folks, with Ben and yMusic, Rob Moose, CJ Camerari, Gabriel Cabezas, Alex Sapp, Hideaki Aomori, and Nadia Sorota in the studio in New York. And Rob, can I talk to you a little bit about working with Ben on these? Because this is not rock artist with string quartet kind of stuff. Can you talk about the actual composing together with Ben?
Yeah, sure. We did a number of different things. Actually, in the case of that song, Ben had this garage band kind of mock-up type thing that he made on his iPad that we heard, and then kind of started to take it into the computer, put it into the notation software, and generate a score that we read early on. And in other cases, like a song we'll play later, Yes Man, I had just kind of come up with a little idea on piano, made a voice memo, texted it to Ben, and then he kind of fleshed that out. So we tried to approach it from whatever way felt natural for that song.
Now, the difference between an ensemble like yMusic and a rock band is someone writes these parts out, right?
Right, that's one difference. And maybe that's the only difference in certain ways, actually.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, well, because we try to kind of take those written things and get away from the page and the way that we're kind of interacting. So we do start there, though.
Well, now, the group is a string trio, flute, clarinet, and trumpet, and percussion is not on that list. So, Ben, for the album, I know you played percussion. How does it work live? Who's playing today?
We have Sam Smith back here on percussion. And, it's really useful. We didn't find we needed bass. Mm-hmm. We tried to leave anything out that might cause it to be a rock band with strings, so yMusic are the rock band. But at the end of the day, we didn't get away without some boom. Right. So we have boom boom, and because I think percussion is a big part of rock and roll, it's really hard to do without.
Well, speaking of classical percussion, wasn't that was your first love, and you went to school for it?
Yeah, that was my thing. I was a percussionist. I identify myself as a percussionist, and that's what I studied. And it's great to study something like that and then get away from it and not be precious.
Well, this sounds great. Why don't you guys do another one of these songs?
This one's called So There, which is also the name of the album. All right. And a stereo, just like I started, and a note composed with thumbs and fun on unpacked boxes. It's so well written, but I won't be singing it. I will not forget you. There is nothing to forget. Oh, so there. Through shiny streets and dirty snow, blue skies in dimness. Oh, Brooklyn, that's my second sleep. I damn well did this. The world got big again. You couldn't get rid of it. And I will not forget you. There is nothing to forget. Oh, so you taught me nothing. I owe you nothing. How could I forget you when there's nothing to forget? So
That is So There, Ben Folds and yMusic together here.
did you hear that cello in the middle?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, like Tom's
Yeah, you were flying on that, definitely.
Philadelphia's own.
Hey, Ben. This is, I think, one of those times where it's appropriate to ask the question about the lyrics and the music as to what comes when, because these pieces seem so complete in and of themselves. And I was wondering when the lyrics come on that one.
Lyrics are always the last thing for me. This was a note card album. I sat with note cards and did loads of verses. All these songs have a good 10, 12 verses that I spent a lot of time on. And then I would shuffle them. I mean, and this is sort of a conglomeration. So there was sort of a conglomeration of different times in my life. When you start over, because you always think, life is over, and I'm starting this new thing, and I've had a lot of chapters, and so I was trying to put them all together.
And that is a sort of a goodbye song. That's the nicest way to put it on that. So there.
Yeah, and it's also sort of a hello song too. It's it's not like I Will Survive, but it has that a little bit. I mean, the main thing to me is like how exciting it is when you finally get out over the bum out part of breaking up, when you get to pick out your own furniture. I love that. I get to put that stupid painting where I want, and there's something really kind of freeing about that, and the idea that someone thinks it's going to take forever for you to get over this person, but you can say, well, not really. That's kind of freeing.
All right, Ben, tell us about when you threw your phone in a pool in New Orleans.
Yeah, I was actually in L.A. for that. That didn't sound as good. New Orleans is more romantic. Also, I came up with the song. It was a lot of it was an improvised song on stage in New Orleans. So New Orleans ended up getting the shout out. But I actually threw the phone in the pool. That was in L.A. I got a load of messages, and I just didn't feel like I could keep up with it. And I was remembering how I used to go out on tour, and there were no cell phones, and you just get directions where you're going, and book your hotel ahead of time, or just find a Motel 6. Just kind of simple, and I guess just for a moment, my rebellious old man kicked in. I'll throw this thing in the pool. Show it. It's expensive stunt.
You can't do it too often.
No. It only works once, and so hopefully this song will. I think maybe it's already paid for that phone. I don't know. I can't remember what my phone plan was at that time.
Well, we'll research that. But while you're doing it,
someone get on that for me, please.
Folks are going to want to know. Anyway, I love this song, and this was not from the original work you did with yMusic.
No, this was sort of a hybrid. I had Sam over here on the drums and me got together with 3 or 4 other of our friends and spent a drunken week in Dublin. I was cranking out songs, and we toured together a lot, and so we were working together on these things. And the idea was to have an entire album, and instead just had sort of a case of Jameson's and a couple of ideas. And this song, I thought, really had a thing. And so when we were out on tour with yMusic, we just went back in the studio and knocked it out.
All right, this is Phone in a Pool.
Take it easy, take it slow. Oh. Get on with the show. Oh, that's what I know. What's been good for the music hasn't always been so good for the life. I've thrown my phone in a pool in New Orleans, found the love of my life again. Y'all knows what I means, and I'll be back on your sofa in a puddle in a couple of weeks. What you're saying when you yell at the same time. You could be telling me the story drink it slow.
That's what I know.
When you've gotten to the bottom of it, it's time to go. And when you've lived to be 200, feel free to proffer your advice. But until that time, here's my auto reply. I found my phone in a book in New Orleans. Found the love of my life again. Y'all knows what I mean. And I'll be back on your sofa in a bottle in a couple of weeks. That's what I know. Oh, that's what I know. That's what I know. Why didn't you tell me that I got fat? It's so easy, I can see it now. I'm looking back as I empty one more round of smiling photographs. So many things you never mentioned to me. You didn't think I could listen. Do I come across so weak? I guess sometimes I am. Now you're so gone. I don't need a yes man and a song. Oh, why didn't you tell me about it? I watched a patch of morning light as it crept across the bed and it reached your sleepy eyes. And in that time, I'd forgotten why. I couldn't tell you why I was mad, so I kept it in and you held it back. Every picture that I click and drag, it's obvious. Now you're so gone. I don't need a yes man and a song. Oh, why didn't you tell me about it? I know sometimes you try to talk to me and I make a joke of it. I do that sometimes when I know it's gonna hurt. Why did you tell me that I got fat? Now I'm crying all the way from the photomat, 'cause I see I've got more chins than a Chinese phone book has. Now you're so gone. I don't need a yes man and a song. Oh, why didn't you tell me about it? Oh, why didn't you tell me about it?
Yes Band, Ben Folds' lyrics, and Rob Moose's music as yMusic collaborates with Ben Folds. The new release is called So There. I can't thank you guys enough for playing live for us. It was just a real treat.
Oh, thanks, man. It's always cool to do stuff with you guys. Intelligence. It's nice. Thank you.
Ben Folds, yMusic, our guests, and we shall be back here in a moment on the World Cafe.